welcome to the introduction to Adobe InDesign. InDesign is the industry standard for making brochures, posters, magazines, catalog. It's a real page layout program. You can see this example that I've got here on the screen is the school play poster that from this year. And the way it works is that you take, you're using all the different Adobe programs, say like Illustrator or Photoshop, and you take those different elements and you put them together in InDesign. So basically, like say this is one image here, and I'll put that in the view there. So you have all the different elements. And so like say this picture would have been done in Photoshop, this logo would have been done in Illustrator, and then it just all gets put together in InDesign. And then this type would have just been added in afterwards. Why wouldn't I just do the whole thing in Photoshop or the whole thing in Illustrator? Well, you can, and some people do, but like say for a catalog where it's like 100 pages long, InDesign is good at just working with multi-page documents. And I did it for this poster just because I thought it was a good way just to throw a lot of elements onto one page. So before we go into your assignment, which is going to be a magazine assignment, I got to teach you how to use the program first. So we're going to start with a blank page. Just going to go up to File and New, Document. And we get like a menu. Oh, it shows up on this screen, so I'll move that over. And you have a bunch of different options here. You can create documents that are specifically designed for the internet or your mobile device. But right here, we're going to be creating something that goes to print. And you could either do it on your 8.5 by letter or tabloid, or do any size that you want. We're just going to start with the basic size, 8.5 by 11, and everything is in inches. Maybe your document might be in some other type of unit. Sometimes InDesign defaults to points or picas. Make sure you switch it to inches, okay? Just save yourself a lot of trouble because you might not understand the language of the other items. Something that actually I forgot, so this is a good teachable moment. I do have a blank page. The document that I do have the option, let's see here, if I go File and make another new document. You do have the option to make a multi-page document just for fun. I'll make a 10-page one. And facing pages, that's where it's got you've got page. If you have a booklet and those pages open and they face each other, that's called a spread. And so it allows you to see those side-by-side pages. And then columns, you can have multiple columns. So let's actually work with a 3-page column, and the space between the columns is called the gutter. We'll just leave that there. Okay, so this is where we've got it. And so you can see now we've got our 3-column page, and if we look at this, we've got a 10-page document. In fact, if I zoom back, there we go, you can see our 10 pages like so. This is standing alone. You don't see this as a spread because this is just showing you the cover, because if something was folded, a booklet was folded, you would just see the cover on its own anyways. And then at the very end, you see the back cover anyways, okay? So we're just going to start here working with this. For you, your little mini assignment today, you're going to be just creating a 1-page document, okay? Then all I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in a headline. We're going to make just a little newsletter page. So let's just click on the Type tool, and it should be pretty familiar for if you were working in Illustrator or Photoshop already. We're already familiar with some of these tools. And if I wanted to, I could just click, but if you just click, it doesn't do anything. InDesign makes you work with text boxes. You have to work with text boxes. You can't just click and just start typing. So you have to make a text box so it's a container for your type. All right. So let's just call this the Medway Magnet, which used to be the name of the Medway yearbook. Let's just highlight that, and we're going to pick a font. We got a whole bunch of fonts here. Let's just go with that one, and we're going to make it big. Right now it's 12-point type. We're going to make that nice and big. I could just boot that up, or let's actually make it try 50. Let's try 75, and we're going to center that in here, and actually let's center that in the middle and up at the top, and make our text box nice and small there. And then actually I'm going to make my type big enough where just going to fill it up to the guidelines so things are nice and square looking. Okay. Then you see that I've got all these guidelines a lot. If you want to, you can change your modes of you can change. If you just hit the letter W, you can go into preview mode, okay, or go back again. Okay. It's also this little button down here, which is kind of half hidden. I can't really press it just because I purposely made my resolution on my screen small for this video. Okay, so let's make some more text boxes, and we're going to fill it in with some type. I'm just going to make another text box. Let's just go like so, and like that. And actually I'm going to move this, make 3. So I could either copy, Control-C, and paste it back down. I got another one. Or a nice little helpful tool, if I just have the Move tool selected here, and if I hold down the Alt key, I can just drag, and while holding down the Alt key, it makes a copy. Okay, so now let's add some text. I'm going to introduce you to, let's boot up a browser here. Just going to move that over here, and we're just going to go to Google, and we're going to just type in Lorum Ipsum. Lorum Ipsum. Lorum Ipsum is fictitious type that people will use in, oh, I spelled it wrong, isn't it? How do you spell something that's wrong that's generic type? The Lorum Ipsum is fake type that graphic designers use when they're designing a booklet, but they don't have the right words yet. So let's go to this Lorum Ipsum generator. And so when I was working, what we would do is you could tell a writer, yeah, I've got this space and I need 300 words in order to fill this space, because you've already kind of laid it out with this type, and you might be able to show the client what it's going to look like before you even know what it's going to say. So let's see, 5 paragraphs. Okay, we could change that to 6 paragraphs if we want to, and go generate. Okay, and this is different now. So here's my 6 paragraphs. So let's just copy this. Oh, it allows me to copy that. Let's see if that copied. I'm going to go back in here and click on my type tool and Control-V to paste, or edit and paste. Oh yeah, it worked. Good. Okay, so now I've just put this type in this one text box, and that works. But the trouble is, there I've got that, and that is working well. But I've got more type than in my paragraph box, and the trouble is too, I want to fill it. I've got one article and I want it to fill the whole page. So you see here, this little error here, this little red box here, that is an error because it's saying that, hey, you got more type that's fitting in this box. So what it'll allow me to do, if I click on that, and then I can actually click on my next text box, and it fills that text box. And then I do that again, and I just go to the next text box. And so the nice thing about, I got a lot of text, I got too much text. So the nice thing about that is that if I were to click and drag on that, that text is now free-flowing in these different text boxes. And it doesn't matter what the shape of these text boxes are, they will just always free flow, okay, like so. So that's really handy for designers when you're doing laying out an article in a newspaper or a magazine, that you know that you've got all your type. And as long as what you don't want to see at the very end of your article is that red block, because that means that you've got an error and you've got too much type and you've run out of room in your article. So the next thing I want to do is just add a photo. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about photo. I'm going to just go to the next page here, go to the next page there, and I'm just going to drop in a photo and talk about that for a second. I'm going to go File and Place. That's different than going File and Import. Actually, it is the same. It's just a different word. InDesign, and they come from different backgrounds, and so some words have kind of stuck with a program over time. And so sometimes you got words that say the same thing. I'm going to just go grab a picture of a former student. This is from a long, long, long time ago, and going to talk about this, how to work with photos. So what you can do is when you're working with type, there's a couple of different things that you just got to keep in mind. Now, in Photoshop, we had the free transform. You go edit and free transform. This actually has a free transform tool, which is handy. I can grab that and I can bring that down. Okay. Oh, now that's interesting enough. That you can, if you want to scale it, you can scale it like that. However, you hold down the Shift key and it forces it to be proportional. Okay. Now, there's things to remember when you are using InDesign, and this is very, very important. If you get like one thing out of this tutorial, this is it. If you have a photo, but then the photo also has a container, a box, okay? So like say if you have this box and I've got the selection tool selected, if I drag this in, okay, I am cropping in on that photo. So this is the container that is holding the photo. If I click on this direct selection tool, the white arrow tool, and I click on it inside, I now have selected the image inside the container. Why is this good? Well, sometimes you don't even need Photoshop. You just might get a photo in and you need to put it into your layout, and you can just crop in it right into the program. And this is extremely useful. And for example too, like say if you had, you can make a container before you put a picture in. Like say if I had a ellipse tool like that, and then I went File and Place, and then I put that in, and it should go right into there. And so then I can then grab my handles for that guy and start working with that inside the oval. Okay, so that's really handy. I can also make custom shapes. Like if you're familiar with the pen tool, you can make custom shapes with the pen tool and put that inside. So that's always really handy. You can also change your shapes here. Okay, but for right now, let's actually use this one, and I'm gonna just shape this like this just for fun. Okay, just to kind of show what I'm talking about here. I'm gonna put that in, and I'm going to put this picture in with the type. So let's actually I'm gonna cut it, Control X. I'm gonna go up to this guy right here, and I'm going to paste that down right there. Okay, so I've got it in my article. And I'm going to put that right here, in between here, so we're going to have type going around it. So right now, that text is right in behind it. We can't read that text, but we want to have that text kind of wrap around the picture. So if I have this object or this circle or anything selected, I'm going to go to Window and Text Wrap. Oh, it showed up on my other screen. I'll bring that over. So up pops the text wrap. And right now I can see that the text is not going, it just goes right over. If I click on this, it it kind of forms like a box around it. And you can also adjust like the margins. Like if I want to increase the space here, then I can just go ahead and increase that space there. Actually, it's linked, so it's going all the way around. But you can unlink it and do all of them individually. So let's put that back down again. Okay. Then you've also got the wrap around the object shape. Well, that's what we want here because it's going to take whatever shape my this is, and we're just going to wrap it around. So let's just go like so. Okay. And that's handy. And so you can see how the text has wrapped itself around. And it will continue to do that. If I move that around, it'll wrap it around there. If I were to scale it down, use my free transform tool and scale it down like so, holding down the shift key to keep it proportional, it will continue to do that. So if I back that up, and then I'm going to just go into preview mode, click that button down there, or hit the W, and we can see, oops, we can see what we've got right now, okay? So right now we'll just make this look a little bit prettier here. That's there, and we're gonna just have this. Maybe what I'll do, the last thing I'll do before I go, I'm just gonna change the color of this, of my headline here. Gonna change it to red. Let's just go to the type tool, and we're gonna select that type, and we're gonna change that type to, let's just change that to red. Okay, and then, oh, that's pretty powerful red here. Let's actually just go into that, and let's actually, let's go into a color. There we go, into color, and I'm just gonna mess around. I'm gonna make that just a little bit darker because that just bothers me. There we go. Okay, so that's my title. Okay, so this is good enough for one day. So all I want you to do for your little mini assignment, I want you to make a new document. I want you to make it 8.5 by 11. I want you to make sure it's in inches. I want you to make a new document that has have 3 columns. You're going to take a picture in. You're going to put it in some sort of box. I don't care if it's square. It would be nice to be oval just so you could show what you're doing. I want you to put in a nice big headline. You call it whatever you want, and you're going to give it a different color. And as well, you are going to just fill in these columns with Lorum Ipsum. Okay? All right, there you go. Good luck.